In 2025, Nike decided to change how they do their naming and how they structure their daily training models, realigning to the Pegasus, Vomero, and Structure lines. Today, we're going to break down the differences between the Icon, the Plus, and the Premium of the Nike Pegasus line. What's up, everybody? I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod. You're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. Now today, like I said, we're going to be breaking down the Nike Pegasus line, and if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this comparison, but if you do so, I would sure appreciate it if you come back and watch the full video when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these. And if you've been watching for a while, but you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please do so now. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you get notified every time I drop a new video, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But in 2025, I'm doing my best to drop daily weekday videos, and so far we've been able to keep that up. Just to start off our conversation for today, let's talk some disclaimers and disclosures, which are that I got these 3 shoes free for the purpose of review. That being said, I'm not paid, nor am I given any talk tracks, nor am I asked to make any specific content, any videos. They didn't ask me to make a comparison of these 3 videos. No one gets to watch the videos beforehand, and all thoughts are entirely my own. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of these shoes. Now, like I said in the introduction, Nike realigned their daily training models, so technically all 3 of these are daily trainers. That being said, I've seen some specific patterns across kind of the Icon versus Plus versus Premium, and although it may not be intentional, the way that you use these 3 models is a little bit different. First up, the Nike Pegasus 41 is your standard daily trainer. It's lighter than a lot of other standard daily trainers on the market, but it really is going to be kind of your tried and true, decent at pretty much everything, but not necessarily going to stand out in one specific area. Next up with the Plus, you have more of your lightweight daily trainer. You have an upgraded foam. We'll talk about that in detail, but this is going to be your lighter weight daily shoe for maybe more steady miles and potentially some shorter intervals as well. Lastly, the Premium, this is not necessarily made for any specific use. Again, it is still supposed to fit kind of within your standard daily trainer model, but I think that to me, this is more of your max cushion daily trainer and is really best suited for easy days and long days. Now, starting out with the prices of these 3 shoes, the Nike Pegasus 41 comes in at $140, the Plus comes in at $180, and the Premium comes in at a whopping $210. Now, whether these shoes are worth it at their respective prices, we can discuss in kind of my pick out of the 3 towards the end of this video. But what I will say is it makes sense from a pricing perspective when you look at the materials used in each shoe and how they do scale from kind of your daily training materials up to your more premium racing materials, although these are all still technically daily trainers. From a specs perspective, they don't necessarily scale in any particular way. The Pegasus 41 comes in at 10 ounces and 283 grams. The Plus comes in at 8.4 ounces and 238 grams, and the Premium comes in at 10.9 ounces and 309 grams. So the Plus is significantly lighter than the other 2, which again starts to kind of confirm some of my feelings towards the shoes in terms of how they should be used. From a stack perspective, again, there's not necessarily a set trend here. With the Icon or the 41, you have 37 in the heel, 27 in the forefoot for a 10mm heel to toe drop. For the Plus, we come in at 34 in the heel, 24 in the forefoot for a 10mm heel to toe drop. And lastly, the Premium has a whopping 45 in the heel, 35 in the forefoot for a 10mm heel to toe drop. So all are still Pegasuses in the sense of that 10mm heel to toe drop, that traditional drop from Nike. So they're going to feel similar overall in that sense, but the main difference is going to be the stack height between the 3 shoes. From a fit perspective, I do feel like they fit fairly similar overall. The toe boxes are going to be maybe a little bit wider than your traditional Nike fit, but I'd still say they're still within kind of standard to almost narrow. The midfoots on all 3 of them are fairly narrow. I find that the Plus is the most accommodating in midfoot, not enough to be sliding around or shifting at all in that, but definitely a little bit more accommodating or wide foot friendly versus the Pegasus 41 and Pegasus Premium, which to me are not wide foot friendly at all. And then from a length perspective, all 3 I would say fit true to size. So I'm a 10.5 in all 3 of these shoes, and I do feel like that is consistent lengthwise throughout the 3 models. Now, from an upper perspective, they are going to scale the materials again. So in the Pegasus 41, you have a somewhat basic upper with the engineered mesh with some flywire cables that do run through the shoe. You have those loops for the lacing system, and then you have kind of a, I would say, moderate plush tongue and some decent cushion there in the upper as well. I found that the Pegasus 41 upper was nice and breathable, and you do get good lockdown in the shoe as well, as the tongue is fully gusseted. Moving to the Plus, you have a slightly more lightweight and breathable fly knit mesh. And so this is going to have those fly wire cables that are running through. And then you also have the Nike Turbo stripe, because this is actually the Nike Turbo that has been rebranded or renamed as the Pegasus Plus. In fact, you can actually see it there on the outsole where it says Turbo. I do like the fly knit upper. I find that this is very, very breathable. It's very, very comfortable, yet you still have a very structured heel counter. And so you're going to have some good structure in the upper. The other thing that I do like in the Pegasus Plus, actually over the other two shoes, is that you have traditional eyelets or lace holes there. And I'm just not a huge fan of the loops personally, even though I feel like they give really, really good lockdown. I feel like I can get a more dialed fit with the lacing system of the Plus. Lastly, in the Premium, you have that circular knit mesh as well as the mono mesh side paneling, and this is again a very premium looking upper and very premium feeling upper. So it's very, very breathable. You get really good lockdown in that midfoot. You have a slightly more plush tongue than the Pegasus 41, and you get just a little bit more comfort and plush overall throughout the shoe. Despite being a little bit more over-engineered compared to the other two, I would say that it's still, again, that circular knit mesh is very, very breathable overall, and you get a really kind of nice looking upper, premium looking upper there throughout. Between these three shoes, this one obviously looks a lot more like a lifestyle shoe, but I would say it is not a lifestyle shoe. It is a running shoe that you can also wear casually versus a lifestyle shoe that you can also run in. Again, you have those same loops as the Pegasus 41 for the laces. I mean, you can get good lockdown in that. It does the job. It's just not my preferred lacing structure or format. Now moving to the midsole, this is where the shoes get very, very different and very unique overall. So the Nike Pegasus 41 has a React X foam throughout, and then there is a Zoom Air pod there just in the forefoot embedded in the midsole as a whole. With the Pegasus 41, I found that that combination of Zoom Air in the forefoot and that React X foam is very, very nice. It's very supportive. It's very soft. It's actually more stable to me than a lot of previous Nike foams. I used to not be able to run great in the Pegasus line, and this is probably my favorite in recent years. I will say though that the Zoom Air gives you, like, it's not as supportive as the React X foam, and so it's very noticeable actually in the forefoot. It feels minimal, and you can get a lot of ground feel there in the forefoot. So if that's not something that you like it very much feels like a 10mm drop shoe, and you can definitely feel the ground there. But with that, I feel like this picks up a little bit better than a lot of other standard daily trainers out there on the market. Now moving to the Pegasus Plus, you have a Zoom X foam, and this is their racing foam, but I will say that this setup is a little bit firmer, I feel like, than what you'll find in the Vaporfly or alphafly. So this Zoom X foam is going to be a lot more stable, a lot more controlled than traditional Zoom X, but still is going to be responsive and lightweight, and it's going to pop off the ground really well. And so that, along with the overall weight of the shoe, does make this feel very much like a up-tempo shoe, one that people could even race in or do speed work in. Lightweight daily trainers, traditionally you can use them for interval workouts and speed workouts where you don't want to actually go to your plated options or your spikes. I also find this to be fairly stable overall, which with a Zoom X midsole, you would typically expect it to be maybe a little bit wobbly, but that wasn't the case here. Now moving to the Pegasus Premium, you get all three cushioning types that we've already mentioned. So that Zoom Air is now a full-length Zoom Air unit. It's the first time that Nike has actually been able to contour that to the shape of a foot, which is what makes this shoe so unique. On top of that, you have that Nike React X foam, so that nice foam in the Pegasus 41 is now there on the bottom layer, and then that top air is that Zoom X racing foam that you find in the Pegasus Plus. So it really is a combination. There's a reason why it's 45mm, and it's probably because they couldn't get it any shorter given the foam in the stack that they're putting in the shoe. And even with that 10mm heel to toe drop, the combination of those three cushioning systems there in the forefoot make it very responsive in the forefoot, very bouncy, and you don't get a lot of ground feel as opposed to the Pegasus 41, where you can feel a lot in the forefoot. You don't feel hardly any in this shoe. This is one of the bouncier shoes on the market. The one thing that, I think prevents this shoe from being a fast shoe and potential race option versus more of a long run and easy day shoe is because the shoe is very, very heavy. So despite being responsive, you're not going to be flying at super fast speeds, but you will be bouncing off the ground. Now, the full-length Zoom Air unit is a lot more in control now that it is actually foot shape, as opposed to the Zoom All Out from a couple of years ago, which did have a full-length Zoom Air unit. It just wasn't contoured to the shape of a foot, and that was really, really unstable and really, really crazy. So that Zoom Air unit paired with the Zoom X plus the React X there on the bottom gives it a little bit more structure, a little bit more stability, but I would say this is the least stable of the 3 shoes and definitely is a little bit more crazy as you bounce off the ground. You're gonna want some stability needs. So if you are someone who needs, again, additional stability help, whether that's in a stability shoe or some type of insole, this probably isn't the shoe for you. But it's very, very comfortable. It is very, very bouncy. It's a lot of fun. It's just heavy, and that's what prevents it for me from being more of your standard daily as well as your more like long run workout shoe. Moving to the outsoles, you have a blown rubber outsole in kind of that waffly pattern there on the Pegasus 41. You have the durabrasion or the durable high abrasion rubber, I should say, on the Pegasus Plus, and then you have a high abrasion rubber again in that similar pattern on the Pegasus Premium. I think the Pegasus Premium, to me, that traction did not do great, if I'm being honest. I've been running in a lot on a lot of wet roads or frosty roads after rain, after light snow, and the Pegasus Premium is a little bit slick. I've noticed that. And then the Pegasus Plus, now the traction on the Pegasus Plus is not quite as slick as the Pegasus Premium. In fact, I feel like it does solid, but I do feel like it's not quite as good as the blown rubber on the Pegasus 41. The Pegasus 41, I actually ran a lot of my miles in this shoe in Hawaii in a lot of humidity on wet roads after rain. I actually ran on some like actually decently technical trail and a lot of like loose dirt, loose gravel, and the shoe did great. And so I'm a big believer of that blown rubber, was a big fan of the Pegasus 41 overall traction there. So between the 3, although the Premium is supposed to be the most premium, then the Plus, then the Icon, Pegasus 41, at least in the traction department, the 41 takes it for me. Now, as far as my pick between the 3, that is really difficult because the price tags of these shoes do skew my opinion quite a bit. The Pegasus Premium at $210, it's hard for me to justify that from a pure running perspective. If you're justifying it from a fashion and running perspective, like, this was somewhat of a limited release, and it sold out almost immediately. I think there's a lot of hype. I think a lot of people are going to be wearing this shoe almost for more casual than they are runs. Then I get why maybe $210 justifies the cost for a lot of people. For me, I mean, I'm definitely going to rotate this in casually too, but as a pure running option, I don't feel like I can justify $210. Similarly with the Pegasus Plus, this would actually probably be my pick of the 3, just because you get the versatility of like the Zoom X foam. It's going to be fast, it's going to be lightweight. I love a lightweight shoe. The lightweight daily training category is my favorite category. So the Pegasus Plus would be my pick from a pure performance perspective. I feel like I could go long, I could go fast, I could go short, I could go easy. Feels great. In fact, the forefoot, despite being 24 millimeters versus the 27 in the Pegasus Plus or in the Pegasus 41, the forefoot feels more cushioned because you don't have the Zoom Air unit React X combo. The Zoom X just is more supportive there in that area. And so this would be my pick. But $180 when most lightweight daily trainers are going to come in at like $150, maybe $140 even at the same price as the Pegasus 41, that's really, really tough at that price point for me. So although this would be my preferred of the 3, the price makes it hard, and that's where I would have to pick the Pegasus 41 from a straight value perspective with these shoes. I think that this is a really well-rounded shoe. It's probably one of, if not the most well-rounded standard daily trainer. And don't get it twisted, like that doesn't mean it's my favorite standard daily trainer. I like a little bit more cushion than what is provided here in the forefoot, but I was really impressed with the Pegasus 41. And frankly, I didn't like basically anything since the 37. So overall, the price, the performance, the versatility, the traction, right? My pick between these 3 is the Icon Pegasus 41. So just some final thoughts on these shoes. At first, I was not a huge fan of how Nike was approaching their naming. I didn't feel like, for example, the Nike Invincible made a lot of sense as the Plus model for the Vomero, or the Nike Pegasus Turbo. The Pegasus line probably made the most sense to me. The Vomero line, still kind of the jury's out because we haven't gotten official release yet of the Vomero Plus or Premium, though we have seen mock-ups and pictures and samples. And we haven't really seen anything from the structure end. So like, we'll see how that kind of looks going forward, if the lines tend to make sense. To me, if you are going like standard daily, more like up tempo or lightweight tempo, and then more like premium just overall, I think that could make a lot more sense, especially if the premiums kind of serve more as your long run shoe. Because then you have like your daily, your workout, and then your long run. And then based on of cushioning preferences, Pegasus is going to be responsive, Vomero is going to be more max cushion structure, is going to be more stability. So we'll have to see. I do have the Vomero 18 that I'm going to be taking out for some miles next week. So we'll see kind of how that compares to the Pegasus Icon. But overall, I did enjoy miles in all three of these shoes. I feel like Nike Daily Training is kind of making a comeback, and we'll see kind of where it goes from here. So if you stuck around this long, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what you enjoyed most about this video. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications again so you get notified every time I drop a new video. And as always, we'll end with a question, which is your pick out of Nike's daily training lineups? The Pegasus, the Vomero, or the Structure? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.